All right, so we're moving on from mollusks. We want to review a little bit of some of the evolutionary relationships between some of these animals, and then we're going to continue on to the remaining phyla that we want to talk about. Now, we know that cleavage patterns are part of the embryological development, and that starts to build a blastula, which then eventually gastrulates. And we have here at this juncture, you have an ancestor to both the protostomes and the deuterostomes and the flatworms, which don't belong to either of those categories, which had which formed a blastula and a gastrula, but gastrulation was incomplete. The digestive cavity only had one opening. So you see that the flatworms here have diverged before complete gastrulation has appeared in either of those lineages. Now, you got your protostome lineage and you got your deuterostome lineage. And both protostomes and deuterostomes have a complete gastrulation with a digestive tract and a mouth and an anus. Now, the thing that's an issue there is that neither of these groups, well, I say it badly, let's try it again, that if you trace back to the common ancestor of both the protostomes and the deuterostomes, it did not have complete gastrulation. Even the flatworms did not have complete gastrulation. So complete gastrulation, the formation of a digestive tract, has evolved separately and independently twice in the history of the animal kingdom. Once, where the opening to the blastopore became the mouth, and which followed the pattern of spiral cleavage, and once which continued the pattern of radial cleavage, but the first opening was not the mouth. The second opening, deuterostome, second opening, was the mouth. So complete gastrulation has occurred and evolved twice within the animal kingdom independently. The common ancestor to the protostomes and deuterostomes had incomplete gastrulation. Okay, the flatworms have incomplete gastrulation, but the flatworms differ, or the flatworms, let's say, share a more recent common ancestor with the protostomes, and their a little bit more ancient common ancestor was the beginning of a new pattern of embryonic development that's called spiral cleavage. Okay, so let's get that out of the way, and let's put this up here, and we can see now we're looking at the protostome lineage here. So I've taken the branch that I had at the top of that other chart, and now I'm just showing you that lineage. So flatworms did not have complete gastrulation, but they did have spiral cleavage, which the rest of the protostomes had spiral cleavage, not radial cleavage. Complete gastrulation in the protostome lineage is first uh, appears with the mollusks. Of course, the mollusks are your snails, your slugs, your octopus, your squid, your chitons. Who'd I leave out? And your bivalves, your pelecypods. Okay, they have a muscular foot. They have what, or you might think of it as a head foot, because with the exception of the bivalves, they're very highly cephalized. Okay, they have a mantle which covers up the mantle cavity, which in most of the mollusks has gills, and the mantle, the rim of the mantle, and many of the mollusks produces the shell, but some of them do not have a shell. So mollusks we've dealt with. We've shown you a dissection of the squid, dissection of the snail, and a dissection of the clam, the freshwater mussel. And now we're going to move on to a new group that has a new feature that had not appeared in any of the other lineages, which is true segmentation. Okay, now segmentation appears in the deuterostome lineage as well, but segmentation first appears in the protostome lineage with the annelids. The annelids are the segmented worms. Okay, when you think of worms, earthworms, night crawlers, those kind of things, when you think of worms, annelids are the kind of worms you're thinking of. Okay, um, they are the earthworms, the polychaete worms, which you probably haven't heard of before, and they are the leeches. And of course, a leech is different from a lamprey. We'll talk about that another time. But They are the leeches, the worms, and the segmented worms and the polychaete worms. And they are also an ancestral form in the same lineage that produces the arthropods. The arthropods are also segmented. Okay, segmentation is here. So all of the descendants of that common ancestor are segmented. But these are soft body segmented worms. They do not have arms and legs. Okay, they do not have jointed appendages. They're soft bodied. The arthropods, which include insects and spiders and crabs and lobsters and a great variety of different things, have an exoskeleton and jointed limbs. The annelids do not.